I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. And in fact, we are going to be talking about a lot of light, because today there is a fantastic lunar eclipse at 26 degrees of Aquarius. And it is the first of 3 consecutive eclipses that denote a triple eclipse occurring in 2016, this year. And so 2 weeks from today, there will be another solar eclipse in Virgo, and 2 weeks after that, there will be a lunar eclipse in Pisces. In a year when there is a triple eclipse, it simply indicates great social unrest and change. And so, if you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would know that the title of tonight's show is A Career Change. And the reason why there can be a career change is because we know that under a lunar eclipse, the moon opposes the sun. So the eclipse today is at 26 degrees of Aquarius. And the reason why there can be a career change is because 26 is a number that reduces to 8. We add digits to reduce numbers, so 2 plus 6 equals 8, and 8 is the number of someone who is the head of an organization or is in a position of authority or has something to do with being in charge of things. And there can be a career change for someone because this lunar eclipse in Aquarius is being strongly opposed by the sun at 26 degrees of Leo. And there are no planets in the other air signs to fortify this eclipse. There's nothing in Gemini or Libra to back it up. But there is a very strong opposition because the sun is the ruler of Leo. And it is part of a magnificent grand trine in fire signs. And so the sun in Leo is trining Uranus in Aries, which can rule sudden change or rebellion or freedom. And it is also trining both Mars and Saturn in Sagittarius, which are moving very close in their alignment, and that is because they're conjuncting each other right now, and that heightens the power of all 3 of these malefic planets that are being trined by the sun in Leo. So that lunar eclipse today in Aquarius is sort of taking a beating, and that is why there could be a career change for anyone. But under a lunar eclipse, we sometimes say, since the moon rules women, that one woman comes and another woman goes. It doesn't happen exactly at the same time, and eclipses have an effect for 6 months at least. So there is the possibility that someone could be having a career change because they want a better future for themselves. And Aquarius is the sign of the future and of people who are ahead of their time. It rules invention, and it does rule freedom and rebellion and eccentricity. It rules anything that goes through the air, and so it rules space travel and computers and electronics. And so anytime in the next 6 months, people could be looking particularly at career changes in those fields. But the career change could come because of a cancellation of a project, or it could be that somebody simply wants to go off and start something new, and it could be of their own invention, and they could decide now is the time. Or there is the possibility that a person in a high position cannot withstand the tremendous pressure that is being put on them right now, because those planets in a grand trine in fire signs, particularly Mars and Saturn so close together in Sagittarius, can denote people who are fierce competitors, and they can be such fierce competitors right now and want everything on their own terms that they may be able to enlist the help of some egocentric leader who could help to put a lot of pressure on somebody who's ahead of their time in order to squeeze them out. And for that reason, somebody may decide to step back or bow out of something because of the pressures that they're facing. And so what we see right now is that there can be a great lack of cooperation or coordination going on. And the reason for that is that there are 6 planets in the mutable signs, all squaring and opposing each other. Well, the 4 mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, are usually very agreeable and flexible, and they can see someone else's point of view, but they're not in the mood to do that right now because the Venus and Mercury and Jupiter, 3 wonderful planets in Virgo, are being squared by that malevolent Mars and Saturn in Sagittarius, and they are being opposed by Neptune in Pisces, which is retrograde or going backwards. So there are some people who are not telling the whole truth about things right now, or it can be that there are people who are in complete denial about the facts, and they can be causing a lot of problems. And that's where that lack of cooperation comes in. At the same time, though, the 3 planets in Virgo are being trined beautifully by Pluto in Capricorn, which is good. So because there is a trine in the steady, practical earth signs, and it's among very good planets, remember it is among Venus, Mercury, Virgo's own ruler, and Jupiter in Virgo, and Pluto in Capricorn, it simply means that people who have cool logic and who have a successful track record of accomplishment or who are known for their very steady efforts can certainly win out right now. And that's because when they come up with good problem-solving answers, they have a lot of experience to back them up. And so reality wins right now. And that could be another reason why there can be a career change, is because no matter what the pressure is, or no matter how much somebody wants to rebel or go off and do their own thing, we do all have to listen to common sense solutions to our problems, and those are well aspected. So what does this idea of a career change mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, the ruler of Aquarius, where the full moon is today, the lunar eclipse, is Uranus. And Uranus is in your sign, Aries. And it is being trined beautifully by the sun in Leo. So you may want to follow some leaders' insistence on doing things for the good of everyone. That would be great. But it is also being trined by Mars and Saturn in Sagittarius, which are planets that are really up to no good right now. They're called malefic planets because they can get you in trouble. And they are trining Uranus in your sign, which is also a malefic planet. So Aries, you might be tempted to go in the wrong direction this week. You might be tempted to respond to the pressure that other people or fierce competitors put upon you, and you could act in haste, and you could really regret that later on. So I urge you to step back a little bit, Aries, and think things over right now and not respond too quickly to what other people are suggesting right now, because they may not have the best motives, and they certainly wouldn't be telling you what their motives were anyway. And so you might end up making a regrettable mistake, and that could precipitate a career change that you weren't even planning on. So instead, I hope you listen to good ideas from people who have a lot of experience and go down that road instead if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when I think that it would really pay for you to be as quiet as possible. And that is because, you know, you don't have an axe to grind, Taurus. The 3 planets in Virgo are all trining your sun, and one of them is your ruler, Venus, so that's nice. You can be pretty happy with facts and figures and your own performance record at work, since Virgo does rule jobs and employment. And also Pluto in Capricorn is trining your sun, so you can be pleased even if there are changes in management or policies and procedures. They would not adversely affect you, Taurus, so you could go along with all of the changes that are occurring. But what I advise you to be really quiet about is that the lunar eclipse in Aquarius is squaring your sun, and that's a fixed sign, and so is yours. And then the sun in Leo is also squaring your sun. And so, since these are the lights that are opposing each other today, you could get in the middle of a really big standoff and you would be the odd person out or the loser. And particularly if you took one side against the other, I don't see any winners there. And so you would be sort of inviting trouble, Taurus, and you don't need to. You can be pretty happy with the way your life is working and what good control you have over your own ideas. And so I suggest that you mind your own business this week, Taurus, and stay out of other people's concerns because they could turn out to harm you. And even if you're not planning on it, they could even result in a career change that you were not anticipating. And that could be simply because you're sort of getting in between other people that are more or less at war, and that would not do you any good. So try to mind your own business this week and be happy with your own efforts, because they can be quite astounding right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is a time when I think that full moon lunar eclipse today in Aquarius is going to do you a lot of good. And the reason why is that it is trining your sun. It's also trining the Libra sun. It's going to do Libra some good too. And the way that could occur is because if somebody, particularly sometime in the next 6 months, decides to make a career change, that could leave a very advantageous opening for you, Gemini. And it would almost be as if someone was able to open the door and invite you in. And that would be just great. You could really profit from someone else's change right now. And I'm not talking about why they make the change. I'm just saying that when that occurs, it could leave some sort of vacancy that you would really be eager to fill, and you could quite easily do that. So look around for who's making changes right now, Gemini, because I think that they will certainly benefit you. And so I hope you yourself are open to change. And you should be, because Aquarius rules the future. And that means if you've got your eye on the future, it could be looking pretty good for you soon. All right, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, that eclipse in Aquarius is actually 150 degrees away from your sun sign or in conjunct. So you may not be directly involved in a career change that someone else is making, but the ruler of Aquarius, where the lunar eclipse is occurring, is Uranus, and it is in Aries squaring your sun, and that simply means that there can be some odd surprises headed your way or very sudden change, and it could be precipitated by people who are fierce competitors right now. And so once again, I'm urging you, as well as a lot of other people, to slow down. And that is because you do not know what is behind a sudden change, but it's not looking like there's anything good behind it if somebody is trying to put a lot of pressure on people. So I hope that you just step back and sort of go along with summer fun right now, because the sun is in Leo right ahead of your sun sign, and that simply means since Leo rules children and fun and entertainment and sports, those are the things that you could be involved in, and that would make you happy, Cancer. And instead, stay out of any urgent pressure situations right now. I don't think that they are the best thing for you at the moment. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, the sun is in your sign, but it is being opposed today by this lunar eclipse at 26 degrees of Aquarius. And since the lights, the sun in your sign and the moon in Aquarius, are in fixed signs, I think, Leo, what that means, since I think there is a possibility of a career change coming up for somebody who wants a better future, is that even though you can be very powerful right now, since there is a grand trine in fire signs, I think somebody else wants out. And I think that sometime in the next 6 months, Leo, you may experience some sort of separation from somebody who doesn't want to be dominated and they don't want to be controlled. And there's nothing wrong with them. It's just that they don't want all that pressure on them. And so I think that somebody can be deciding to leave, and once they find an opening, they'll do it very, very quickly. And so it might not bother you at all, Leo, when they do that, but I still think there's going to be a parting of the ways coming up for you, and it will be based on somebody else who more or less wants their freedom right now, or they just want to go on and do their own thing in their own way. And that's where they see their future. It's not where you see their future. And so I think that's why there can be some sort of separation coming up right now, or soon in the next 6 months. And when it does happen, it will be with lightning speed. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when you really do have a lot of answers, and they're good ones based on a proven performance record. In other words, you can say, look, I've done this, this, and this, and that's why I make these suggestions or changes. So with Venus, Mercury, your own ruler, and Jupiter all in your sun sign being backed up and trined by Pluto in Capricorn, I think that management, or people who are changing in management, can be very happy with your input and with your job performance. So that's all to the good. But remember, I said there are 6 planets in mutable signs, all harshly squaring and opposing each other. So you do have trouble to look out for, Virgo. And it doesn't have anything to do with your job or your performance. It has to do with how people feel themselves at this time. And with Mars and Saturn in Sagittarius squaring your sun sign, where you have all those good planets, there can be fierce competitors around, and they would like to cause trouble for you, Virgo. So if you have a hint that somebody is jealous or envious or has an old grudge to settle, you need to get out of the way, Virgo. And don't confront them at all. Don't even listen to them. Ignore them. And try to stick just to what you really love doing, which is work. And then Neptune in Pisces is also opposing the planets in your sign, which means there are some people around who are pretty good at lying or not telling you the whole truth, or are in complete denial right now about the truth. And you can't change them at the moment, Virgo. So even though yours is the sign of service, you have to be pretty practical. Remember, reality wins right now. And so even though you have good answers, if nobody's listening, if I were you, I would quit talking and just continue on with your own efforts instead, which are very good. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Libra. Libra, this lunar eclipse in Aquarius is trining your sun, which is wonderful. It can open up a whole new world for you. What it can really open up is your future, Libra, because Aquarius rules the future. So there could be somebody very nice ahead of their time that wants to make a change and may want to include you in that change. So I think that, you know, a window of opportunity is opening for you as well, Libra, and that can make you very happy. I think you might be looking for something new to do, and you could be looking for new companions as well. And so there is the possibility that this lunar eclipse in Aquarius is going to invite change in your life as well. Even if you're not planning a change right now, it could mean that somebody very nice and a little bit unusual and ahead of their time could be headed your way, and they would be so delightful and they would like you so much that you could consider them a new partner. And that could be coming up anytime in the next 6 months, Libra. So this eclipse is going to sort of wipe the cobwebs out of your mind and give you all kinds of fresh ideas and opportunities, and I think you're going to love it. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when you too, just like Taurus, should mind your own business. And the reason why is the lunar eclipse in Aquarius is squaring your sun, and that dominant sun in Leo is also squaring your sun. So you do not want to get in the middle of somebody else's fight or fierce competition. For one thing, they're not after you, Scorpio, they're after each other. And so stay out of any kind of contentious situation, or when you see some people putting pressure on others, I would sort of step back a little bit right now, Scorpio, because fixed signs don't budge. You ought to know that. Yours is a fixed sign as well. And so this is a very good week for you to mind your own business. And still, when you see fierce competition going on, I would stay out of it if I were you. What could you do in the meantime? Well, your sign rules strategy. And if you want to succeed at anything, you've got to have a plan first, don't you, Scorpio? And that's what you can be working on, strategy and finding out more information behind the scenes that can be hidden. And that's because Neptune in Pisces is trining your sun. So going behind the scenes and working on your strategy for future success is a better way for you to spend your time now. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, this is a time when you can really be putting pressure on others, or else you can be feeling the pressure that they could be putting on you. At any rate, one way or another, with Mars at 7 degrees in your sign and Saturn at 10 degrees, these planets are conjuncting each other right now in your sign, and they are malefic planets. I do not think you're in a good mood, Sagittarius. And remember, yours is a fire sign, and there's a grand trine in fire signs. Things could really heat up in your life right now, and I'm not so sure they'd turn out too well, because the 2 planets in your sign are being squared by the 3 planets in Virgo, which are insisting on facing reality right now, so you have to do that. And they're also being squared by Neptune in Pisces, which means there are people around that you can't trust, because either they're not facing reality themselves or they're kidding you, and so that isn't going to help you either. So this is a time when you have to be very careful to step back, and instead you can decide in a fit of anger or of frustration that you want to go out and strike out in a new direction. But there isn't enough support for that right now, because there are 6 planets in mutable signs countering that. And that is why this is not your time to surge ahead, Sagittarius, even though you have the motivation and the energy. And even if it's anger energy, you can be real determined right now. But you also could step into some sort of quagmire, and you could get into it, but there would be no way out. That is why you need to be very careful to step back now if you can, and just wait a while. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, you can certainly benefit from the fact that reality wins right now, because the 3 planets in Virgo are trining your sun, and they're excellent, Venus, Mercury, and Jupiter. So a lot of changes that you have made in cost cutting and in health improvement are working out really well for you, perhaps better than you anticipated, Capricorn. And that is why reality wins for you. It doesn't mean that everybody's happy right now, and there is trouble in the background of your life, because Mars and Saturn are in Sagittarius right behind your sun sign. So you have to keep your back to the wall right now and realize that there are jealous, vindictive, fiercely competitive people around you, and they're not really showing what their plans are right now, but they're not good plans, and that's why you need to guard yourself and your safety a lot more right now, Capricorn, and just be careful. Certainly don't go down any dark alleys, or don't go where you don't feel safe, because there could be trouble and you could be a helpless victim of it, so be careful. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a wonderful time for you, because there's so much light in your sun sign. After all, today is the full moon lunar eclipse in your sign. And since it's at 26 degrees and it's not supported by any planets in any of the other air signs, you are really on your own, Aquarius. But you can be filled with some sort of divine light that shows you a way to go into your future. And I don't think there's too much that can hold you back anymore, Aquarius, because I don't necessarily think you're too happy where you are. The sun in Leo is opposing your sun sign where the full moon is, and that Leo is, the sun is dominant in Leo because it rules the sign, and there's a grand trine in fire signs. Somebody could be trying to squeeze you out right now, and that is because they are fiercely competitive. And, you know, I think that you're uncomfortable taking orders from somebody that you may not really respect, who doesn't really have any futuristic insight at all. They just want to control everything, including you. Well, your sign rules freedom, Aquarius, and what I'm thinking is that this may be a good time for you to think of how to get more freedom, because I don't think that you are happy with the cramped situation or the cramped relationships that you're in right now. And you can have a lot of good opportunity to pick up new partners and make changes, particularly in the next 6 months when this lunar eclipse is in effect in your sign. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when I think that you need to be very, very careful. And that would be to watch out for people who are fiercely competitive right now, because Mars and Saturn in Sagittarius are squaring your sun, where you have Neptune, and it is retrograde or a little weaker right now. And these two planets are direct. Saturn has gone direct now. And so there can be people who are somewhat jealous of you, Pisces, or they can have old grudges that they want to settle. And if you're not careful, you could walk into a situation where you could become the victim. And particularly if you're kidding yourself about anything, with the 3 planets in Virgo opposing your sun sign, it simply means that reality wins right now, which means you have to face facts. And if you are in denial, you could get hurt from that. And so you really have to face facts about your health, and about your job, and about your bank book. And so that's a lot of reality to face right now, but it's important that you do that and sort of get a handle or control of those things instead, rather than being in denial or kidding yourself about anything. All right. Thanks so much. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want by subscribing to it on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye. That's the start. That's the start.